Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Joe's Minibike Reunion. What is it, Ed?
It's Season 4, Episode 12.
12 this year.
Yep.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job. 12 episodes of the podcast. This is the big pre-Minibike Reunion. It's this Saturday, Joe's Minibike Reunion, the 19th, right here in beautiful Crescenta at CV Park. And man, oh man, Ed, the day couldn't come any sooner. How you hanging in there, okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I realized I didn't get a beer. Usually I have a beer.
Oh, shoot.
Let's take a look at Linda. She usually gives me the thumbs up. Linda, can you hear us? Oh, she's making pizza. Hey, I want to thank everybody for listening in. And for those of you who have listened in over the year, over the seasons, we have ourselves in a pretty good place. We spent a lot of time this week finishing the Barris Super Stalker bike. And Ed, again, congratulations on an awesome job.
Thank you.
You masterminded the entire build. I played a small role helping out. It's been a gas for us to work on that bike. We had a couple cool weekends together working on it. And it took us about the amount of time that we thought it would to collect it. We were in pretty good shape with that bike, all things considered, you know?
Yeah, we were kind of ready for it.
Yeah. Thank you to Pioneer for presenting this podcast and all of our other fine sponsors, our friends from Go-Kart USA, Studs Performance, our friends over at Green Filters, our friends at Pioneer. We already talked about them, and we've got a few others that help us out here. We appreciate it. And, you know, I got some, UPS has been coming to the garage about 3 times a day. And you'll notice all the boxes there containing the stands and the mats. Linda and I have been working putting the decals on the mats for the last 12 hours. We're almost done. We are fortunate that our pre-registration numbers have already surpassed our total number of entrants from the year before, and we're extremely excited and thankful for that. We may get to somewhat of a no-show situation, or actually a sellout situation, where there'll still be room for the bikes. I just don't know if we have enough mats or goodie bags. So with all that said, we'll deal with that. And I want to thank you for all of you folks who have pre-registered. Essentially what that means is that you guys went to the website, joesminibikereunion.com, and prepaid. And as a result, not only are you only the pre-registered folks eligible to win the RCF Micro Mini Bike, but there's a separate line for pre-registration. And for those folks who have pre-registered, as well as a line for the sponsors and the vendors for the swap meet and the bike corral, that line will essentially fast forward you into the show. Registration opens at 7. You can come to the pre-registration line and you'll be greeted by my man, Ira Gabriel. There's Linda gives me the thumbs up about 10 minutes into the show. Thank you, Linda. And your card will be ready for you with your name on it. And if you had 2 or 3 entries, there'll be 2 or 3 cards for you. You'll have your number, your participant number at the bottom so the judges can refer to it. And this card, in this case, it's Casey Moore. In fact, Casey, come and see me at the show. You were the first person to register for Joe's Minibike Reunion. I think it was back in May. Wow. So thank you. I've got a little something for you. So Casey would come in, he would get his card, Ed, and he would tuck this. You know, when it's windy, it's tough because these cards blow away, right? Like the banners and everything else blow away. So you can kind of tuck this underneath your tire. Boom. When the judges come over and they have the opportunity to look at your bike and judge your bike, they have these cool little decals. See? So they'll place a red decal on the card, and then you'll know as a participant that your bike has been judged. So there won't be any concern about, hey, my bike didn't get judged. You're like, yes, it did. Well, I didn't see anybody. Well, so this is how we're going to do it. If you have not registered, there's a couple things that you can do. You can still register online. The pre-registration eligibility for prizes and the pricing is different. It's $30 now, whether you register on site or whether you register on the website before the show. If you do it before the show, we can help you a little bit. We can fast forward you. We can have your card ready. But for the most part, you know, I would wait. We've got projections for almost 200 bikes this year, guys. And again, those that pre-registered, guaranteed a slot on the dyno. For those folks that are coming on board at the show, it's very likely you'll make the dyno, but there's that risk that you may not. Again, this is all good stuff. Who knows? Maybe we'll need 2 dynos next year. We've got food trucks this year. We've got burnt to a crisp, which is like barbecue stuff, Ed.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I could see you eating like.
I want the donut girl. That's what
She's coming. LA Donut. You're talking about Gabby, right?
Yes. Yep.
She asked about you.
Best donuts.
Yeah, well, you put pink on anything. Well, wait a minute. That's a whole different show.
No.
All right.
Just donuts.
All right. So we'll have the Donut Gal, LA Donut, and La Fiesta. And if I could have a little mariachi music, we'll have 3 food trucks that are scheduled to appear. And Ed, you know how it is. Every year.
Where's the food truck?
Where's the food trucks, right?
Where's
So
the food
what we
truck?
didn't do last year is we didn't Grubhub it because we're old and we're not as socially savvy. So if these guys don't show up, fuck them. Grubhub it. Just call Ralph's. You can call Pizza Place. You can can almost call Burger King now. What I should have done is got the In-N-Out burger truck. So
Grubhub's one of our customers. They just purchased a lot of stuff that are going to install in different places. So they have a track of what's going on.
oh, nice. It's amazing what they can do now.
Yeah.
So who knows? We'll have food. The gang from Scleroderma is going to be out there again with not only water for donations as well as some treats. Emmanuel will be there. We've got a lot of. He's going to be as busy as we are. I know that you're helping out Ed intermittently with in between autograph sessions, doing some of the judging and some of the helping on that. Thank you. I want to thank our judging team in advance, led by Cliff Judd, and we got Justin Eichler and Joe Petralia and Bill Brasau, and we got.
Justin's going to show up?
I don't know. Ever since he got in love.
Yeah, I know. You got to watch out for that kid.
Interesting comments from Justin. In fact, I've been getting a lot of weird
Really?
calls and texts. He was listening to one today. Okay, so remember I chatted with you the other day. I said, hey, unfortunately, Temecula Bob, fortunately, Temecula Bob is coming, but Taco Bill said he wasn't able to attend. Say, hey, Ed, I'm going to reach out to Minibike Paul, maybe Guardrail Dave. Guardrail Dave probably won't answer the phone. I'll talk to him, and I figured I'd call. So I sent a note to Paul. Hey, Paul, are you all set for Saturday, the big day Saturday? Look forward to seeing you. I don't hear anything from him. I get a return text like later that night, and it's like, who is this? I don't know who you are. I don't know this number.
He's getting old.
So I say, it's Joe, Meatball. No call back. No, nothing. So, Paul, if you're listening, you're getting inducted into the Hall of Fame and maybe a reason to show up this year. Bring a mini bike, too. I got another call from a gentleman on, again, the JMBR line. I think it's 818-275-4060. Thank God it's not my real cell phone number. And the first question is this Joe? And it's like, no, this is Emmanuel. So, hey, Emmanuel, I'm just calling. This is my first time. I'm just calling up. A guy registered my Bonanza chopper. Have you seen it? I said, I have not seen it. I won't see it until the show. And you said some guy registered it for you? Yeah. I said, well, why don't you check with him? You have people registering your bikes for you? Am I getting this correct? Said, yeah, it's my bike, but he's going to bring it. Okay. So how can I help you? Well, I just wonder what to do when I get there. It's like, well, you got me confused now. I thought that somebody else was bringing your bike. Somebody else was registering your bike. Do me a favor. Go talk to the guy who registered your bike, and I'll see you at the show. So I didn't even know what that phone call was about.
Right.
I got a call today from a guy. Hey, Joe, this is What's My Name from Chatsworth. Hey, there's a guy who's got a booth at your show and is calling me wanting to know if I want to put my mini bike that I wanted to sell in his booth. And I thought I didn't know if that was a cool thing to do, so I wanted to call you. I said, no, it's a shitty thing to do. There's no subletting booth space. If someone bought a swap space to sell bikes, I'm not putting him there because I want him to then call potential folks that would pay to be in the bike corral. I want him to sell parts, not try to pull in guys who would normally just park their bike in the bike corral. Right. So it's those kind of calls. And then Justin, I remember there was a time when I had the only CR 400 Bonanza chopper out there. There was only a handful of choppers. I think maybe Ian had that Arco Reynolds and there was a couple customs. But now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them registered for the show, not counting mine. We've got all the cool bikes that Dave Miller's bringing, which he also mentioned he has a customer chopper that he built that is coming, which would make it 5. So they're kind of popular. You know, we just had Dave on the podcast. Justin has a CR400 roller with a couple forks and the seat about for $650. Guy says you got to go to Joe's Minibike Reunion. He's like, no, I'm not going to pay to be a vendor. I'll bring a bike up if I've got a sale. It's like, what the fuck is he thinking? Why? You're selling these bikes. I'm going to put you in front of 1,000 captive mini bike enthusiasts.
Yeah.
Is it the hassle to bring them up? Is it the 20 bike? Let them have the space for free. But wouldn't you think if you're selling mini bikes,
I think
you would bring them to the show to sell
he
them?
wants to get a lot of money for them, and he kind of thinks maybe that people that go to this thing don't have a lot of money.
Well, mini bikers traditionally are kind of low buck guys, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's a used part.
There's a few people that do have money that will pay the money to get a bike they want.
Right. Particularly a nice chopper, right?
You have to take a chance to sell your stuff. If it's not out there, you never know. Someone could walk by and say, hey, I want that.
To my point, I didn't think I was in the market for a West Bend. All of a sudden, I got a hankering for a 2-stroke. Next thing I know, I got one. Now I got 2 or 3 coming. You don't know what's gonna spark.
I mean, if what is it, 35 for a spot?
Who knows? It's fucking him. I'd give it to him for nothing. It's not. But I just missed the whole thing where, well, I'm not going to bring anything up unless I got a sale, like a delivery. It's like, no, brother, come out there and bring. If nothing else, let the folks who come to the show enjoy the benefit of seeing the bikes.
Come on, Justin.
No, I'm not. He ain't coming out. No, I wouldn't. I'm not going to let him have any. Nah, just kidding. Anyway, so, hey, the folks over at Studs came through again. I've got their banners. I got banners from GTS. I've got stuff from Go Power Sports. We reviewed some of the prizes. I've got a trailer. I literally have a trailer full of Pioneer car electronics. Head units, Ed, backup cameras, complete system. Like the head unit, the speakers, the amp. Mm-hmm. They are so generous. I have helmets, every shape, every size from Honda of Glendale. We've got all the hop-up parts from Go Power Sports. And the goodie bag I've been talking about. I made a list of all the items and put them on the Facebook page. There's like 25 items. No paper bullshit. No, here's a flyer. Right. It's all like either trinkets and trash and buttons and bullshit, I refer to them, right? Keychains and samples of mother's waxes and shop towels. So I was waiting because I have to stuff these goodie bags, and we're going to do them tomorrow, Thursday night. And traditionally, I would do these with like family and close friends to the podcast. And my brother-in-law, Jerry, and my beautiful sister-in-law, Gail, would be with Linda. And sometimes Eddie and his wife or his girlfriend, Terry, would come and help us. And we'd all have a few drinks and do a few other things and walk around a table, and we'd fill the goodie bags. Well, that was back when we had 100 or 50 or 75 goodie bags. Now with hundreds, it's a process. Not only the time it takes, but it's 200 to 250 of everything. And I didn't have the room here. And fortunately, today UPS came and took a burden off my back, which were all these crates that were waiting to go to Saudi Arabia for the big upcoming event in November, the Riyadh Car Festival, where I'm taking the mini bike market to Saudi Arabia. And I'll be bringing some bikes and frames representing Jake Moe and RCF and Temecula Bob and others, as well as some parts. And we'll see if we can make some magic happen there. But they came today like a godsend, and now I have room. So tomorrow I've got some of our friends coming over to help out. We appreciate it. We're going to take advantage of the time where some of our out-of-towners are in town. Joe Petralia, the guys from Arizona, Cal Carisi will be coming in. And it's kind of nice because we've got, I'm in that mode.
Cal's been posting all those pictures of me.
Yeah.
From everywhere.
So this is the... I'm going to just take it off now, considering it's close to heart. This is the famous Evil Ed decal that we created. We shot it right on the side of the garage, remember?
Yep.
And it was so cool because we put it in so many different illustrations. And this was cool. It's black and white. And you got the logo on there. And I gave Cal a ton of them when I went to visit him. I was in Detroit for, I think, Roadkill Zip Tie Drag, some announcing deal. And I spent the day with with Psycho Banana and Nitro 44, and I gave him a bunch of decals at the end. And Cal has been driving from Taylor, Michigan to La Crescenta, California, and left last week. And along the way, as he's been making stops, he's been putting the Evil Head decals. And he's got some photos. He'll post them up there when we get Cal on the show. Our guests tonight are Joe Petralia from Muscle Minibike Build Off, as well as Calvin Carisi. They're both going to be on the phone guests. We'll get to, more than likely, we'll get to Joe first before the break, and then we'll get to Calvin later. I was telling Ed, if we wait for Calvin, we know he'll be drunk by then. So the interview will be great.
He could be here in 4 hours.
Oh, hell, from Vegas?
Yeah.
Yeah. 4 hours is about right. You can do that a little bit less if you hustle, but my days of driving fast are over.
Hustling.
Oh, he's been hustling.
Past couple days.
I'm waiting for him to get arrested by putting your decal on some, state property. So we got a lot going on. We got a lot of prizes. We've got a lot of folks coming to the event. I've got some personal friends that are coming. We've got some newbies that are coming. We've got some folks that haven't missed a mini bike show. We've got some new apparel. I apologized earlier on one of our previous podcasts about the fact that I'm tired of buying too much apparel and having to bring a lot of it back. Not only is it money out of my pocket, but it's just the space, right? We give some of it away through the podcast, but for the most part. So I ordered a lot less, which means that we'll probably sell out some of the items. I used to also gift people apparel. Like the judges would get a hat, and there'd be a coupon in the participant goodie bag for $5 off. I mean, I all but gave the shit away. So I'm not doing that anymore. If you help me, or if you're my friend, like Evil Ed, if you ask me for a hat, you know what I'm going to tell you?
Buy it.
No, I'm going to tell you can have whatever the fuck you want. But let's just say that, I don't know, let's say one of the judges say, hey, Joe, I'm helping you the judging. Can I have a hat? It's like, no. Here's what you can do. Go buy a hat. Go buy a hat. Thank you. Give her the money. Great. That's Linda's deal. It's Linda and Nikole doing the apparel. At the end of the show, if you want to wait, if you have to have the hat, go buy the hat. If you have to have the hoodie, because I only have a few hoodies, go buy the fucking hoodie. At the end of the show, when everybody's done buying whatever it is they're going to buy, I'm going to have some stuff left over. At that point, Mr. Judge, Mr. Good Friend, Mr. Buddy of the show, of the podcast, here's what I got. You want a t-shirt? I got a large. You wear an extra large? Do a fucking sit-up. Here's a free large. So that's how it's going to work. So don't put me in any awkward spot. Plus, you know me on site. I'll just tell you how it is. One of the cool things we got for the goodie bags was this.
Yeah,
look how cool.
checking this out.
So this is like a $20 off coupon. And the other side of it is the new Studs Racing. That's the site you want to check out. It's studsracing.com. This is a new site that Eric from Studs has been excited about launching. And he gave us a special JMBR code. In fact, you can read it. I've got to get my glasses there because I'm getting friggin' old. It's JMBR 2019. Huh. He don't miss a beat, does he? That's the coupon code. What I did is I inadvertently suggested that this was $20 off, period. Well, it's not. You got to spend $100 to get 20 off.
That's still good.
It's a great deal.
It's a great deal.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So check him out. Get the 20 off. Eric will be here. In fact, Calvin Carisi not only is bringing his Psycho Banana, but he's bringing Eric's custom Harrison bike.
I saw that on Facebook.
That's badass. That's going to be a tough bike to beat in the custom category. So Eric will be here, and you can talk to him directly about what's going on at Studs Performance. We've got some of the representatives from Go Power Sports that are going to be here with us.
We've got the guy that sells the micro minis is going to have some for sale out there.
Evan.
Yeah.
We've got Dave Miller doing his chopper deal. We've got F&B.
Mac will probably be there.
Mac is the first one on the corner. Always is, always will be. We've got a handful of swap meet guys. I've got a few bikes that are part of the bike corral. The bike corral is there's a special area. It says for sale. You leave your bike there. It's not for judging. It's not eligible for any of the prizes. You just come in there. I'll give you a goodie bag, right? The swap meet guys, the guys inside the swap meet, none of those bikes that are in the swap meet get a judging card. They don't get this. When you're a swap meet guy, you don't get a judging card. So if there's any bikes in the swap meet, they're not judged. Okay, they're not a part of the competition. They're there to sell, okay? And don't be a mooch, okay? And if you are, I'll tell you that you're a mooch, and I probably won't have you come back. But a mooch is somebody that buys a 10x10 swap meet booth and then goes to people that want to sell their bikes that would normally put them in the bike corral and tries to put them in his booth. Dick move. Don't do that. Another dick move is take the guys that want to just have a part or two for sale and then try to get them to be in your swap. You'll stand out like a sore thumb, and the other swap meet guys will tell me. So that's just not what the spirit of this event is. And if that $25 that you're going to get for helping the guys selling mini bikes that much of a deal to you, then I'll give you the money and you can stay home. Let's do this. Cliff Judd made that awesome trophy that we're going to present for the People's Choice Award, if the poor bastard is strong enough to carry it, right? So Joe Petralia, who kicked off the Muscle Mini Bike Build-Off last year, was talking about wanting to do a trophy. In fact, he may have mentioned it on one of the podcasts. And then, Christ, everybody wanted to give away a trophy. And it's like, well, here's the deal. I don't care. Neither does anybody about what this guy or that guy thinks. It's not about their trophy. So when Joe brought that up, I said, look, on the Muscle Mini Bike Build-Off, just give that trophy to the bike that's there on site that most accurately reflects the spirit of the entrant for your competition. You know, the type of bike that you would look at to go, there's a perfect bike to enter that competition. And that's what it is. So it's not Joe's trophy. It's not Justin's trophy. It's not, although you have a trophy.
Yeah.
You've got, is it the Eddie?
The Evil Ed Award.
Yeah, and I've got the Joey. So we have trophies, sorry. So Joe took, I believe it is, I don't know if it's a Hemi internal from a Predator or it's a drivetrain or a valve train of a popular Predator engine, and he did a great job.
Tillotson motor, I believe.
Was it Yeah, because I think he's got some Tillotsons going on with the folks from Go Power Sports. So whatever it is, it's really cool. And Joe, a fan of the show.
I think it was a Temecula bob frame with a
yes.
Tillotson 212.
Yeah, it's the one he's been doing the video on, the build-up of the Tilly. So Joe is going to be joining us on the podcast, and let's just dial him up, and we'll find out what's happening, and then we'll see him. Hell, I'll see him in 24 hours, because I believe him and the rest of the guys from Arizona will be heading out here tomorrow. Let's see what we got here. 1623. Joe usually comes with his son to the podcast, to the reunion. And he was going to be a guest on tonight's show, but we got our days crossed. I think he thought that the podcast was going to be tomorrow night, and it's tonight. So let me fix the microphone here, and we'll dial him up.
What's happening, brother?
All right. Hey, everybody. How about a nice welcome to the podcast, Joe Petralia from the Muscle Mini Bike Build-Off. Joe, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How you doing? Hey, Ed. What's
What's
buddy?
happening, Joe?
Everybody's doing
Just
good.
loading the trailer and getting ready to get out of town.
All right.
Who's with you? Who's helping you load up?
Nobody. I'm doing it by myself.
Oh,
Story of our life, huh, Joe?
Every time, man. Every time.
But you know what? We're anal. We like it done just a certain fucking way, so it's better off when nobody's here anyways, right?
That's true. That's true.
I was just going on about not so much, I was looking forward to not only seeing you tomorrow, but we were hinting at how cool and what a great reception that custom trophy that you made was received. I was sharing the story about how there was some talk about maybe giving out a trophy, and one guy wanted to do a trophy, and another guy said, well, hold on. It's not so much about what other participants' view of the best bike of the show is. There's got to be a hook. And with your hook being the popular Muscle Mini Bike Build-Off program, it's like, hey, that trophy that you want to give away, that's got some merit because you can recognize the bike that most accurately reflects that bike that you think would do well in your competition. And there's going to be a lot of those bikes at the show tomorrow or this Saturday. And as a result, it's going to be a pretty hard decision for you to make. Talk a little bit about the trophy, Joe, and what you used and how you came up with it.
Well, we talked about this, and I did want to do a trophy. And I was thinking of the tools and parts and weld it together and go that route. And then I said, wait a minute, I'm going to do like a cutaway, but everything but the block. I got enough parts laying around that I could do it. So I took a 212 non-Hemi, and I got probably 3 or 4 5-gallon pails full of rods, cranks, everything else.
Sure, gas tanks.
And I laid it back in the block, set it at top dead center so I could get the orientation right, and then I welded up the cam to the crank. And then I welded a bolt straight down off the bottom, vertically, and that's my center line. Then I could build everything off of that at the same angle at top dead center.
Very smart.
I got a little anal with it. And I got a little crazy and anal with it because I had to make sure all the degrees and angles are right. And then I had to make sure it had about 60 thousandths piston to valve clearance. And I think I nailed it.
Well, they say that views are the most important thing on Facebook, and based on the popularity of the views, everybody's digging it. And even some of the hardcore guys, the Charles MDB Mosleys of the world, are giving you a thumbs up. So good job there. I think that in tandem with the trophy that Cliff Judd made that we're giving away to the People's Choice Award winner are kind of a step in the direction that I was going. In fact, I'm going to reach over here for a second. Let's see here. Eric from Studs.
I thought you were grabbing the big one.
Oh, yeah, the big one. No, the big one. The big one's in the trailer. This is a trophy that Eric from Studs had put together with a kind of a cool little caricature and acrylic, and it's in 4-color, and you can get really creative with this. Although I like this, the trophy that you made and the trophy that Cliff made, where they're using the parts, that's really, those are awesome. And in fact, you watch, Joe, there'll be an actual trade show with people that promote and produce these special trophies, let alone events. So thank you for the effort on that. I'm looking forward to it. How many bikes are you bringing to the show, Joe?
I got 4 coming to the show. I got 2 going in the show.
Okay.
No, wait a minute. What do I got?
I think you have 3 registered, right? You have 3 registered.
Yeah. I got 3 registered in the show, and then I got my bike I had there last year, and then I'm going to bring my little drag bike, and I'm just going to put them in my booth display thing and just park them there, and that's just for the page, that's it.
Sure.
There's 3 in the show.
Great. And what are those 3 bikes? You've got the Temecula Bob bike, correct?
Yep. I just put the last nut and bolt in it about an hour and a half ago. Took it for a test ride down the street, and now I'm getting ready to put it in the trailer.
Congratulations on that. That was a good hustle.
Yep. Came down to the wire, but I got it done. I got my Grom. I got a stretched and slammed 2014 Honda Grom, so that'll go in the Grom class.
Nice.
Moto Mini. And then I got what's called a Mad Ass 125 made by Saks.
Oh, okay.
And that's gonna go, I guess, in Moto Mini too. And that's it. And then my little drag bike, my little red bike to put on display.
Your little Honda, the Honda Z50, was it? Last year, that was pretty popular. Didn't you have a Z50 there as well, Joe?
Yep. I had a 76 Z50 last year, and I had my 77 CT70 that I've owned since I was 14.
Hey, let me ask you a couple things before I let you go, because I know you've got a long ride ahead of you. Who's going to be riding out to California with you, Joe?
I'm leaving here super early in the morning. I got a couple stops to make on the way into, like, when I get into, like, L.A. area before I come see you.
Great.
And then Dave Darnell and the Arizona guys, they're leaving about noon, so they're going to get in late in the afternoon.
Okay.
Crazy Dave Romero is on, I think he's already down there. We're going to meet up tomorrow, me and him.
Okay. Shout out to Dave Romero. How you doing, Dave?
Taylor from Go Power Sports flies in tomorrow, Friday night. Just so you know, I told him he had to go to the show. I said, I don't care what you're doing. Talk to Tim, make plans, get to the show, make it happen.
Thank you, Joe.
He's actually at a trade show in Tennessee, and he's flying from there to California, then going back to Texas.
Yeah, I had not only some contact with him, but also he was generous and made sure that the Go Power Sports guys sent us a little bit extra on the giveaway side of things. Looking forward to seeing him. So
What's up with Justin Bett?
Justin Bett, he's coming down tomorrow night.
Still working on his bike?
Yeah, he's probably trying to find straight push rods.
Yeah, I had. I think he mentioned something about going to see Jake Moe. I said, "Watch out, Courtney will throw you out again."
Yeah, that's right. I think he was going tomorrow over to Jake's, and I think he said something about doing some test hits with his bike out in the AV.
Joe, a couple things. So far, you've checked off quite a few things in your short tenure in the mini bike scene, at least in terms of the SoCal scene and the social media scene. And within a short period of time, you've got the Muscle Mini Bike Build Off. You've got the new videos that you're launching on the Tilly Build Up, as well as some others that are planned. I know you got your own little production team in house with your talented son and family. You seem to have you've got the bug. What else can folks expect from Joe Petrolia in this coming year? And what's the latest on the Muscle Mini Bike Build Off next year, based on what you learned from your inaugural event this year?
Well, I want to grow the YouTube channel, and I'm gonna get it to the point, probably a video or two a week. So I'll just constantly have stuff in the pipeline. I mean, to give you an idea, I'm sitting here in the middle of my shop. I must have 30 frames and rollers on shelves piled up, so I have no shortage of work. And the initiative to get those bikes done was, getting the channel going and doing videos and showing people stuff. So that was my initiative to make this happen. I killed two birds with one stone. I built myself a cool project, show somebody how it's done. Maybe I get a little long-winded in the videos and stuff like that, but I don't know, maybe a little too much information is better than not enough information. And I can get this stuff done. And once I start getting them done, I'm going to start just selling them off. Or maybe raffling them off or do something with them. Trying to give back to the community, trying to get back to the hobby.
I love that. Yeah.
We're not getting any younger. I'm getting older. My car business is good and steady, and that rolls on its own. And I want to scale that back a little bit and start playing a little bit more. And that's where the mini bike thing. I jumped back into it a couple of years ago, and then in the last year, I got really heavy into it. And it's very therapeutic and relaxing when I'm sitting in the shop screwing around, with a mini bike and a single cylinder motor and no electronics and no crazy suspensions and that kind of stuff. So that's my vision. Nice,
Joe. And how well said. And I think you touched on some of the things that really mattered to people, which is giving back, enjoying the bikes, the time spent either on your own. You mentioned the therapeutic aspect of it. I was telling I've been putting these decals on these mats. In fact, I want to give a shout out to Jarrett over at what's the name of the place? JV Design. He helped with those special decals, not only for the Barris Superstalker bike, but also these mats that I'm giving away. And Joe, I was like a machine with the glue gun, and then letting it harden, and then placing the decal, and then tacking it, and then pressing it out, and going to the next one, and waiting, and boom, and boom, and boom, and boom. And I felt automated, but I could have done it all night, because I was thinking about every guy that was going to get one of those stands and how cool this thing is to take home. And I was loving doing it, because I know somebody's going to get it and go, wow, this is really cool. And they're going to put it in their garage, and it'll live there longer than the days I've got left on this earth. So, we do these things for a variety of reasons, and you've got all the right reasons in line for the reason why you're getting so active. Finish us off with a little bit about the Muscle Mini Bike Build Off and what plans you have for it going forward.
Got to work out next year's build off. I think the best thing to do is keep it to one build off a year. This way, it doesn't get watered down, doesn't get convoluted, doesn't get lost in the sauce. So, do one build off, expand it to maybe a couple different classes, or shorten the classes. I like open it up to a multi-wheel vehicle. Guys ask about trikes and stuff like that, and that's cool.
Yeah, seeing a lot of trikes.
And I think that's the way we're going to go. I haven't nailed it out yet, but it'll be something I'm working on after we get done with this event here.
Now, for those folks who may not have been aware of it, Joe, when was the actual event date last year?
We started it on New Year's Day.
And they had until, what was the deadline to finish their build?
March 30th. So they had a solid 3 months, 90 days.
Did you anticipate backing that, like from maybe kicking it off the first and ending it end of March? Did you think about maybe doing it, extending it a little bit later on into the year for next year?
Yeah, maybe let it run a little bit later. Maybe start it maybe in February and run it into April. But there was a lot of guys in that build-off that were from back east, middle of the country. You know what it's like from December to April in that part of the country. You're not out riding your mini bike very often, and you're usually in the garage screwing around with something. So it kind of worked out to be a really good time of the year, I think, to do that that build.
I agree.
Downtime.
Yeah.
Well, and we got so many guys because of it. Yeah, not everybody finished. We knew that. But hell, we still had, 40 or 50 finish the thing.
Joe, what was the biggest mistake that you learned from during the event this past year?
Probably the biggest mistake was probably managing it and trying to stay on top of it, and maybe, maybe too many, whether we had 4 classes, maybe make it 3 classes,
Okay.
It's a lot because, street cruiser class, hell, it was 50 bikes, I think, in that class alone.
Yeah. So there's the learning part of it, right?
Yep. So maybe cut it down to 3 classes and keep it simple and keep it a little bit flexible and open, and just let it fly and let everybody have some fun with it.
And Joe,
and then when it comes to judging, judging's got to be done a little bit differently next time.
always a sticky wicket, the judging. I'm going into my 8th year now, and I'm finally at a point, largely because I've got guys like you and Cliff and others that are a big part of it. But it's tough, and your personal view and your interpretation of things, it's better left with others. And that's what I'm finding my success with, is finding the right people that have the right mindset and experience where they could be good judges that will also give you the time that it takes. Yeah, I'm asking these guys like you to take 2 or 3 hours out of a 5-6 hour event date, almost half of your time to judge. So it's a Herculean task, but it's so important. And not only to have the judges, but make sure that the bike that should win wins. So that's not always easy. Joe, what was one of the things that, as you look back at from the build-off, that you took the most pride in and you were most proud of?
I'll tell you what I was really proud of was the amount of sponsors that came through for the build-off, for the competition. I was really happy with that, and then I was really just happy and surprised how many guys jumped in. Like as soon as they heard it, like, "Yep, I'm in. Yep, I'm in." 100 and what did we end up with, 115 people or 120? I forget now, but
that's awesome. A lot. Yeah, that for a first-time deal. Who were some of the sponsors, particularly, that you wanted to recognize, Joe?
We had Iski and Jimmy Rivers and Gage. God, we had so many of them now that I look back on them. Mr. Valve Cover, Go Power Sports, OMB. A lot of guys stepped up. I mean, even privateers like Montoya Dorch, because of his page, he stepped up with a prize for it, and it was just nice having everybody there. I know I'm not naming everybody, but go back into the Minibike Builds page and search for it. You'll find everybody. Well,
we had a little opportunity to help support it. We've got a few of the contestants that were in your Muscle Minibike Build-Off that will be reimbursed for their registration at Joe's Minibike Reunion for being a part of your inaugural event, and hope that some of the spotlight that we put on the event leading up to it and afterwards. I believe we have, wasn't the winner of the bike, wasn't that Taylor who won your competition last year?
Yeah, Taylor won overall.
Okay.
He won overall. And I wish we could have gotten his bike out here, but and Rick, who won, Rick Watson won vintage.
Yeah.
But he's all the way down in South Texas. If he was in Dallas, I was going to tell him, hey, you got to take Taylor's bike and bring it with you. But he's 3-4 hours south of Dallas, so that wasn't going to work. So I didn't even suggest it. But I know he's getting on the road tomorrow night, and he's doing a bonsai run straight to California. Him and his wife.
Wow, from Texas?
People. From Texas, yeah, South Texas. I think he's down around he's College Park, Texas, or something like that, or College Station, Texas, is where he's at. I know I'm screwing it up, but he's correcting me now.
No, you're fine.
But I met them. I met them at Pate Swap Meet in Texas, and all the Texas guys from Texas Outlaw Minibikes. Let me tell you, man, those guys are some cool dudes. They just have a great organization, great group. It was just nice people to hang out with. We had a good time. So we all talked about your event. And I was like, man, you got to take the time, get in a truck, drive, come out there and do it. You'll enjoy it. And I'm glad to see a couple guys are coming out.
Joe, you've been a great ambassador. I think that I've taken a few phone calls from folks thinking that I was you. You may have done that yourself. That's happened with me with a couple other Joes in the industry. And all I can say is keep up the good work. Drive safe. Thank you for being an ambassador for the event and all the hard work and effort that you make in the community. Evil Ed's going to be busy signing autographs on site. So make sure you get some time to say hi to him before the line gets too big,
All right, man. Well, thanks, and I will see you tomorrow night. And looking forward to a great weekend. The weather's going to be perfect, and can't ask for a better time.
Hey, Joe, one last thing. Don't forget the trophy. Don't forget the trophy.
It's already in the truck.
All right.
Hey, real quick. I got to tell you real quick to that. The one thing I did forget was I got the plaque that goes on the trophy. I didn't go to the trophy shop today to pick it up. I completely forgot about it. So I got to give a shout out to Dave Darnell. He's going there in the morning before he drives out to California to get the plaque that goes on the front of that trophy.
Well, thank you, Dave Darnell, for doing that because it's very important. I was working on a special little coup de grace for the Barris Super Stalker bike, a custom plate. And I have a guy that I put a little note on the Facebook page, Joe, asking for a talented airbrusher to help me. And I found a guy by the name of Mike Lewis. And Mike airbrushed a motorcycle-sized license plate, personalized plate for the Barris bike. And he came out of nowhere to help me. And it was, I would have been stuck without it. So I'm glad that when you find yourself in that similar situation, you had a little bit of help yourself. Just so that you know, and for any folks listening going forward, I've got a trophy guy right here in town, the trophy shop, Travis. So if you find yourself in a situation like Joe did where something happened and something got a little bit out of control towards the end and you needed something done quick, we know a guy. Joe, you be safe. Give us a call from the road. I'll be here at the garage waiting for you tomorrow with a cold one. It's Joe Petrelli, everybody, from the Muscle Minibike Build-Off signing off. Good job,
Saturday, Joe.
You got it, buddy. You got it. See you Saturday, Ed. See you tomorrow night, Joe. That's a good one.
All right.
All right, bye.
There you have it. Guy making some shit happen. We're going to give some shout-outs. I missed the shout-outs the last couple podcasts. We'll do them at the second half. And at the second half of the podcast, we'll be bringing on Kalman Carisi. Kalman's probably about 16 deep on vodka tonics. You know he's a savage because he goes to the bar, he orders those things. He doesn't even call out the brand of the vodka. It's like, just give me a vodka. Give me another one. So we got Kalman coming on the show. We got a few more things happening. It's the Big Joe's Minibike Reunion pre-event podcast. Thanks, Gail, for listening. We'll be back in about, 5 minutes. Take a little break, won't you? Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. Sorry about that. He caught me in the middle of a break there. Yeah, it was fun talking to Joe Petrolia. Joe's one of those guys where, he's a New Yorker like me. And, you'll know exactly where he's headed because he'll tell you. There's not much of a surprise. And when he first came around and wanted to do this muscle mini bike build-off, it was, I'm glad someone else is doing something like that because I've watched the OMB build-offs and some of the commentary, and it all starts nice. And it all ends kind of sad. So when you hear about somebody all excited about doing something like a build-off.
I like the way they vote.
Yeah. I liked a lot about what they did, and I also liked the way that he realized that it's not always more classes or more of everything. Sometimes less is more, and he recognizes that his sponsors help him with the success, and those folks that did help out. And, I'd like to think, hey, in some small way, Ed, although we didn't do the build-off, we stroked it. We supported it. We let their contestants come to the show for free. You do whatever you can to give it a good start, and he's off to a good start. So are we. At least we're off to a good start for tonight's podcast. It's the big Joe's Minibike Reunion pre-reunion podcast. I'll give a couple shout-outs. Linda's giving me the thumbs up. Is that the thumbs up? Oh, that's not a thumb up. That's not a thumb. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, good. I can't see what all the posts said. You see we have all the posts to outline the park. And we put the, what do they call it? The yellow caution tape up. I call it the 100-mile-an-hour tape. And we'll be there at the park early on. I think I get there early Friday. Mark off the area. Lay out, in the past, the mats. Now we don't do that. So the way it's going to work is you're going to come in. You're going to get your card that you must have, your registration card. It'll either be completed and waiting for you if you pre-registered, or you'll have to complete it before you gain entrance to the park. No bike will get into the park without having a card. The only bikes that will get into the park that don't have a card are those bikes that will either be in the swap meet area or the bike corral. No wristbands are necessary either, Ed. You know why? It's free.
It's free.
Okay, and a participant, whether he's pre-registered or registered on site, he doesn't need a wristband because, again, it's free. The only thing he'll have to have is the card
for his bike
and his registration number. I wonder who's 911. Let's take a look at that.
666.
I don't have 666. 911. Yeah, 911 is. Guess what? 911 was part of some on-site registration. So, hey, I'll give a couple shout-outs. Sam Blackburn. Let's see, Devin Dennison. What's happening from, he's in Wichita. Wow, we got people up in Wichita, Kansas. Calvin Carisi will be joining us just in about 5 minutes from Las Vegas. Christ, the town of Las Vegas will be happy to be without him for 10 minutes. Ian Cordova. Here's somebody who's been his silence has been, you can hear his silence. Let's just put it that way this year. I know he's been busy. Him and the nephews and those roundy round carts. One of those kids got to be a sprint car champ. That's for sure.
Yep.
Right? And Ian and his brother, Eric, have done a lot to help his nephews, and in some cases, their son. Gavin, right? Gavin, the nephew,
Gavin,
and there's another one. Christ, all those guys do is race roundy round. Love it. Hopefully we'll get to see some of those guys soon. But, yeah, Ian's been quiet. Tell him he's up to something, so we'll see Ian at the upcoming Joe's Minibike Reunion. I bet he's got a little something for you to see, bike-wise. And Pops. Yeah. I like seeing Ian, but I'd rather see his father.
Yeah,
Don't tell
him.
Ed. Yep.
Yeah.
Big, two Eds.
Yep.
Two Eds over 80. That's why you guys get along so good.
We get along good.
Paul Giotti. You know Paul, right? Paul is his local San Diego guy.
San Diego, right? Yeah.
Sells all those old tacos and.
Yeah, I've seen him at Max.
Yeah, Max. I see him at. He's always with Temecula Bob at Pomona. Paul is going to be there with his swap meet and his bikes, and I want to give him a shout out. Where is he located down there in San Diego?
ATM machine there.
Paul Giotto. Yeah, you'll find it. We got some information on Paul.
Is there going to be an ATM machine there?
There's a bank on Foothill in La Crescenta, and there's a bank on Honolulu Avenue. They're both 2 minutes from the BART.
Okay.
That's about as close to an ATM as you're going to get. We mentioned the San Diego. Paul Giotto. Paul's Mini Bikes. You'll see him at the show. Come and check him out. He's got some great deals. We want to also take a moment and recognize some other folks that are listening. I mentioned Sam Blackbourne's coming out, Dave Bowles, Ricky. We had some questions as well. Joe's Mini. In fact, Joe and I were going back and forth. He had a few questions. He's new to the show. Joe was asking if it's barbecue friendly. Not to bring a barbecue with you, no. No one would like a barbecue next to their Taco 22. There are barbecues within the park that are the park's barbecues that are in designated areas away from ours where you're more than welcome to. Bringing your own cooler, an easy up tent, sure, as long as it's not in the middle of where the bikes are. The park is so big and it's so cool and there's so much shade. Having a little area for yourself, not a problem, okay? But no bringing a barbecue. We had a question as to whether or not there was overnight parking available. The answer to that is no. We only rent the park for a portion of the day. Our suggestion is to either sneak your bike into your hotel room or buy a pit bull and lash it to your mini bike while you're sleeping in your hotel room and your bike's out in the truck, or roll it into your hotel room. Tip a guy at 20. You'd be surprised with a finely folded 20 can get you in this day and age. Corona Irving making some noise in a big way and maybe even in a small way, that little devil. We'll see what Corona Irving's got in stock for everybody at the upcoming Joe's Minibike Reunion. There was a couple other questions about bedpans and senior citizen stuff, but we're not going to get into that, okay? Ed.
Yes.
I got to pick up the trophies. I've got most of the prizes. The goodie bags will be done. E says I've got 19 more mats to put stickers on. That's going to be easy. You know why? I've got no more stickers.
Oh.
I don't know what bikes to bring. We're going to be bringing the Barris Super Stalker bike that we just completed. Wouldn't you say we've just completed for the most part?
Yes.
Okay. The bike will be revealed to Joji at the show, and she will be there. I posted a picture of Joji in her George Barris yellow jacket. I had an email exchange or two with her recently. She's coming to the show. She's excited. Joji, thank you in advance for giving us this opportunity. I think you're going to love the work that Ed did. We all had a good time collecting parts and had a lot of help from our friends putting this together. And we hope that it finds a nice spot in that historic Barris custom shop right there on Riverside in Burbank.
Yeah,
Everybody's been there.
That would be nice for me. I would like that.
It'd be nice for everybody. It'd be nice for her. It'd be nice for the sport. It'd be nice for the notoriety for the reunion. And it just makes sense too, Ed. You know, there was a lot of heart and soul and time and effort and dollars went into it, all well intended. And if this bike has any opportunity to get some exposure, that's what it's designed to do. Like, this bike was not built to win an award, nor was it built to have people with white gloves come and inspect it. It was not specifically designed to be brought back to its original condition, although it really is. We took some liberties. We had some fun. We need a little bit more as we learned our way with the bike. We've got maybe a gas tank to replace. We've got a couple of little cosmetics that we may want to change. And for the reveal on the 19th at the Joe's Minibike Reunion event, it'll be just that. Because the bike will then take a PR and a marketing rollout for the next few months. There'll be opportunities for magazine shoots and website shoots, for TV interviews, for film coverage. It may even get moved around within the state. As a result, we'll have no fluids in the bike right now. There'll be no gas. There'll be no oil. The bike will be, however, revealed for a second time. And although this is not confirmed, and I plan on talking to Joji at the event, the plan for us is to share the bike for the next couple months. I'd love Joji to have that bike just in the showroom. Could you imagine the reporters that come there just on a daily basis and then around the holiday times? So let Joji enjoy it as it is. Mm-hmm. We'll take it back from the Minibike Reunion. We'll do a couple little things to it. We'll deliver it to her and let her keep it for a couple months and then see if Joji will allow us to have kind of a Hollywood reveal. Could you imagine us doing a reveal where the bike is actually has fluids and gas and oil, and ready to ride and fired up at a reveal at Barris Customs, maybe the end of this year or the beginning part of next year.
That would be nice.
Right? Like a kind of a Hollywood deal. We have some cocktails and...
Maybe some movie stars will show up.
Well, that would be you, because you and I would be in the film. You know, we've been D1, our film team, and led by Emmanuel as the producer and director. We've been videotaping this Barris mini bike build since its inception, since the first time he went there and got the bike in pieces, and up until now, and actually up until the 19th, where we'll actually present it to her. He's been capturing that, and we've been filming some of the build and, you know, putting it all together in a video. So not only will we premiere the bike video, but we'll also present the bike to her to fire up all at once. So that's kind of the plan. And it'll also be a part of the exciting new news about next year, where we'll be launching the Joe's Minibike Reunion video. It'll be an ongoing video show, and this will be one of our first in a series of about maybe 6 next year. And you'll follow the escapades of Joe's Minibike Reunion, including things like bike builds and rides and shop tours and visits and seeing all the colorful people and personalities in our sport. And believe me, there's a ton of them. So there'll be more about that at a later date. Got a couple of other things we want to cross off the list before we close down the show. Ed, looking back at things, we had a pretty good year, huh?
Yeah, it was not bad.
Yeah.
Got to talk to a few people that are bringing out some new products.
Yeah, we introduced a few good products, actually. We had a couple friends that we got together. We did the 1.5%er. That was one of the cool podcasts we did this year. Got everybody together. Yeah. You spoke to your old buddy Tom Browning recently. What's he up to? Engine Tom, is that it?
Yeah, Engine Tom. Yeah, he's doing okay. He was down in a little bit, but he's got himself back up.
Good. Hope you're doing well, Tom. Look at this. My wife watches Days of Our Life, and one of her favorite actresses is Brianna DeMarco. I think she's, I don't know whether Gabby or somebody on the show. She's watching now. I can see that. And she'll be with us as well as Linda Clarence Barnes, the MC for Joe's Minibike Reunion. He also hosts the NBC drama soap opera Days of Our Life. So we'll have a chance to meet Brianna DeMarco there, one of the popular actresses on the Emmy-winning daytime soap opera, as well as Front Row Seats. Justin Bett's there. Justin
Bett. Bett. Is that his last name?
Well, he goes by a couple. That's his pseudo. It says Team Coco is swapping out gearing now. No idea what to set it at, but he's down. He's going to try it. Mike, who's there? Hey, Taco Bill. Taco Bill, thanks for watching.
Hey,
We're going to
Bill.
miss you. We're going to miss you.
Out.
Yep. We'll miss you this show, but Bill's busy. And one of the planned episodes, in fact, this would be a good enough time to tell it, considering he's listening, is a shop tour of Taco Bill's. That'd be one of the adventures that we take you on the Joe's Minibike Reunion. Calvin Carisi has an itchy hand, which means he wants to play some blackjack and or some roulette. Mitch Pike, how you doing? Corona Irving, he's there again. So let's get to it. You know, our final guest for the podcast tonight is a guy that I met when I was doing the roadkill announcing for Zip Tie Drags. And I invited anybody who was a Joe's Minibike Reunion friend or fan to come and check me out.
My
And
beard's getting stuck in
oh, well, that's because, you bring this up. We took a poll. John Benet Ramsey suggested that we have name tags to wear at the event. And we took a poll, and it was unanimous, 81 to 19% that they wanted us to use name tags. And you had a suggestion that they use their what name? Your screen name. So put your first name or your screen name, wear the name tag if you want.
That's a good idea for me. Maybe no one will recognize my screen name.
Oh, you're the big evil one.
Well.
That's your email.
On Facebook, I'm Ed Rowlett.
Oh, so God, they'd never know that.
Yeah, I know.
But now,
Maybe I'd get away with it.
I think the beard may be a dead giveaway. So it's in, and Justin Bet, for that great idea, you'll win absolutely nothing. There won't be a gift given to you whatsoever. In fact, you cost me $18 to buy the friggin' name tag, so you owe me a $20. All right, so we're going to get Calvin Carisi on the line here and find out what he's done to stay out of jail. He's been in Las Vegas for over 24 hours.
He's flying over here, man. I saw some of his posts.
You notice he went a little slower once he stopped in Colorado?
Like I said, he could be here in 4 hours.
I think he stopped and got a little weed in Colorado and slowed his shit down. Let's see if we can get him here.
Hey, good evening, Joe.
Calman, what's the biggest lie in Las Vegas?
What was that?
What is the biggest lie in Las Vegas?
Oh, me being here.
No, here's the answer. I'm about even. That's the biggest lie.
All right, I'm even then.
Welcome to the podcast, Calman. How's the ride been so far? You took off from Taylor, what was it, Tuesday of last week? Monday?
No, we took off Sunday night.
And who traveled with you?
My wife traveled with me. She's been a great help driving.
She hasn't left you to go home yet?
Oh, no, Friday. She flies out in the morning, and then I'm driving to California from Vegas.
Oh, I didn't realize that. So we won't see your better side.
No, she has to go back to Michigan to work.
How nice it was for her to take the drive with you, wasn't it?
Yeah, we did like a little vacation, too, so we spent some time Vegas, and Utah was beautiful. Oh, my God, I've never been to Utah.
It is.
Yeah.
I was in Salt Lake in August for a SEMA Young Guns event, and it was pretty hot. But isn't it just beautiful, the surrounding skyline?
The whole area.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, maybe you can get us a condo while you're there next time, and we'll both have a place to stay.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, what's the stuff on your on the page here, top fan with the diamond on it?
I don't know too much about that. I think depending on how often you view the Facebook pages or posts, you attain some fucking status.
All right.
I don't know. You're a diamond in my eyes, so don't worry about the Facebook status. All right.
All right. I got to do a shout out to Dave Romero.
Yes, Dave Romero is here, and you got way ahead of yourselves on the shout out. So hold on for a second. We want to talk to you before you get into the shout outs. Let's make you a star. Cal,
Right.
You and I met in Detroit for a roadkill zip tie drags. What was that? A couple years ago?
2016.
And what did we do? We did the studs deal. We went over to see Crispy.
Oh, that was 17. We did the studs deal in 17, where I went to Memphis, Norwalk, and we did the studs deal when you came to town.
Yeah, that was fun. I keep telling everybody I had such a great time with you, where we got to meet Chris and go over to Studs and see all those folks. Myron Bailey. That was a good time.
Yep.
But the most fun I had was spending some time with you, and you were a great host. I want to thank you again for being so cool.
Yep. You said it reminded you of being back home.
Yeah, it was all the rust and all the mean people.
Yep.
It just made me feel right at home. You know, if I had a cigarette in my hand, I would have felt like I was living back there again. Hey,
Yep.
So you're bringing out, when we were there, you and I went to, what was it, the Roadkill, like, it was like a cocktail party at some bar.
Oh, it was the fastest 6-second cars party.
Yes, and you broke out the Psycho Banana and did a little burn. That video that we did, do you remember how many views that video got?
Oh, we did. No, that was in Norwalk, where we did the startup in Norwalk of the fight. Oh, with endless. I had people from foreign countries asking me if they wanted to drag race.
So all these years, that really is the cool part, is when you unload that bike from the trailer like you did at the Roadkill Zip Tie Drags, it immediately attracts the attention of everybody, including goats.
Yep. It's a attention getter. You know, that year was a good year for me. 2017, won Detroit Autorama with the Nitro 44 bike, and I went on medical for 4 months, and I took the bike all over the country, showing it off, and people appreciating it. It's the bike's been all over the United States, and I think this year it's going to be in the Summit store at Christmas time.
Oh, awesome!
So yep.
Good for you. That's very nice. I was telling somebody, I think I was telling Emmanuel, I remember being at a department store. I'm not sure if it was like a a Nordstrom or a Macy's and trying to dodge my way from all those wackos that worked there and those $1 million jeans. And I got attracted to this men's area because they had an old dirt bike on display with a model, one of those mannequins on top of it. But just because it was an old dirt bike, I immediately went to it. It was like instinct. And
Right.
I saw that when you rolled out your bike, that no matter all those cars, all those $100,000 drag race cars, all those guys spending every dollar they had on those cars, dropping their wrenches, dropping their towels, dropping their conversations, and running over to see your bike. And that's what I was getting at. That's still got to be a great feeling, even when you get older, like us, huh?
Yep. And this year I've been racing bikes a lot more often, and it's been a lot of fun this year.
How fast have you gone so far this year, Cal?
Fastest I've been this year is 68 miles an hour in the 8th mile.
Okay. So I want to ask you something. First of all, how excited are you to be showcasing the Psycho Banana? I know you've been to a lot of places before, but this is your first trip to the West Coast, correct?
Yep. The first time coming to California, and she's going to show the bike, and I'm also bringing a Indian too.
Oh, great.
I'm bringing a little 1966 little Indian with a flathead motor on it. So
Nice. A small little Indian with a 5 horsepower flathead, or is it a 3.5 or what?
five horse.
I love those. I love the small little Indians. Reminds me of when you took me on our tour that day and brought me over to meet Ray over at Little Indians.
Yep. L.I. Leisure. Yep. The Ray. Yep. We had a good time that day.
You were also,
Everywhere.
and Calvin, you were instrumental in that, leading to us putting him into the Hall of Fame that year too, the following year.
Yep. I'm really surprised he didn't come out there and pick the trophy up and all that.
Well, look, it's as you get older in years, you can just ask Ed. It's not as easy as just jumping on a plane, man. It's.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would have loved to, and at some point, who knows? Maybe we'll have a chance to see him again, whether it's him coming out here or us going back there. But he's an icon in the industry. Okay, so what do you think about having an event, a weekend event that would include not only a reception and a nice barbecue and bonfire reception, but also some test and tuning and a show and shine, and then drag racing all day Saturday with a nice meal and maybe a drive-in movie type setup that night. And while we're there, we're trying to see who can go the fastest in our attempt to find a legitimate mini bike that goes 100 miles an hour in the eighth of a mile. What would you think about it? What would you think about a weekend event? Would that be something that you would be interested in attending?
Yeah, but that, for me, I've been trying to come to your show for the last 5 years, and this is like the opportunity that finally happened. So, for me to drive across the country with bikes, I got to take 2 weeks off of work. You know what I mean?
It's not easy.
Drive back. It's a big deal. We were going to try to ship the bikes out here and then fly, but we couldn't get anybody to ship them, so it was too expensive. Got
it. So you're not concerned whatsoever about the interest level. It's just the reality check of knowing that, hey, this is much more than just showing up for the weekend. You've got to take time off. You make a very good point there. But at some point, you got to give it a try, Cal?
Yep. And this year, finally, everything, all the stars, all the planets lined up this year, and I made it out here. Last year I couldn't come out because I lost a friend, and but everything's good now. So
great. Yeah,
we're having a good time. The road trip to Vegas, we're having a great time. We made the pasties out of the Evil Ed picture, and we put them on these models that walk down the street. I can't post a picture because it's kid friendly, right?
Yeah. We've been looking at. In fact, we're actually
making me famous.
Yeah, Ed's going from just a West Coast celebrity to international. So along the way, for those folks who may have been following along, I gave Kalman, when I last visited with him, and I think we've shipped each other some items over the years. I gave him some Evil Ed decals, and he's been placing them on landmarks in the states he's been passing through on his way from Michigan to California. They're hysterical.
He's in every rest area from here to there.
Well, he's used to that. Hey, when you get the chance, I just need you to dive in the pool at Caesars and get an Evil Ed decal on one of those those nude gladiators up there.
We were gonna do it. We were gonna do it today, and I got in a little trouble there. But yeah, we're gonna put it right on his nutsack. But they told me to come down.
Hey, Cal, what's the plan? What's the rest of your trip look like? To spend tomorrow with the bride and then head on here on Friday, or what?
Yeah, Friday morning I'm gonna head out. And, I'm staying in Pasadena, so I guess it's like a 4-hour trip. The car's gassed up. I'm ready to go. So. Well,
stay in touch with me tomorrow. I'll be looking for your post, and if you get a chance, maybe you can drop by tomorrow night once you get settled. I'm only about 10, 15 minutes from Pasadena. We're going to be stuffing some goodie bags here tomorrow evening and having a few beers. I look forward to seeing you.
Or Friday morning, maybe I still got your address in my phone, and maybe I'll show up Friday morning or something.
That would be great. You're welcome to do both. I'll be here for a little bit of time Friday morning and then off at the park. The park's only about 10 minutes, the most, from my house. And thank you for not only the fun with Evil Ed decals along the way, but a lot of guys, I know you were looking forward to coming out here, but a lot of our folks are looking forward to meeting you as well, Cal.
Yep. I want to, there's a bunch of people I want to meet, and I hope they're there tomorrow or Saturday.
Hey, along the way, I'm sure you've been in contact with a lot of your buddies, whether it's Brad or whoever. Anybody you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Everybody in Detroit, we're coming out here to represent with Eric. Eric, don't forget your gas cap. Dave Romero, thanks for supporting my bike on your Facebook page. I'm having a great time in Vegas. We're going to go hit their gambling again, and we're hanging out with the Rift. From Detroit over here at the LINQ Motel, Sin City, so it's all good.
Well, live from Las Vegas, affectionately known as God's Ashtray, it's Calvin Carisi. Cal, have a safe trip, have a good time. Tell your wife that she was a trooper joining you on the ride out here, and that we appreciate her as well. And when you get a chance, go buy her a nice little outfit or maybe a diamond ring or something for her way home.
Right. Okay.
All right, Cal, I want to meet you on Saturday.
Yep. Well, you'll probably see me Saturday or Friday, Ed.
Okay. All right, cool.
All right, later. Guys, take care. Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye. Cal Carisi. The thing about Cal is he's smaller than me and he's older than me. And that bike, I'd be afraid to start that friggin' thing, Ed, let alone ride it. And, he's riding it. He's racing that thing actively now. So God bless him. He wears all the garb and everything, which is, I like that. He's got grandkids, and I think he's got 4 or 5 kids and 5 or 6 other grandkids. So he's got a big family. So he's got to kind of watch out. We said he's going 70 miles an hour, 60-something miles an hour on a rigid frame death trap. So, well, folks, that kind of wraps up the show today. We had a good time talking to Joe Petrolia from Muscle Minibike Build-Off. Calvin Carisi, Psycho Banana, Nitro 44 fame, guy from Detroit coming out representing. Looking forward to that. We've got folks that have been listening from different parts of the U.S. Thank you for that. We've got folks that are attending from all over, 14 states. So that's exciting as well. For those of you who would like to register online, you can still do that. Pre-registration is closed, however. It's $30 to register your bike. We've got a great show planned for you. There's a schedule on site. If you're trying to wonder what kind of class you would qualify in, just go to the website there. You'll see some event information. Scroll down to the bottom. If you have any comments or questions or considerations or maybe some tips that you'd like to offer, bring them on. We will have a post-event Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast, although that date is not planned right now. We will also be filming twice live from Joe's Minibike Reunion on my Facebook page. E and I will work out the details. We'll give you an idea of when that's going to happen. We're going to give you a heads up. So we got a lot of folks, especially many of the cranky older folks from Old Mini Bikes website, saying that there were no live videos from the show. And you know what? They were right. And I think in the midst of doing a lot of other things that I thought were important, I missed something that was very important, which was sharing it with the folks who can attend so that they can attend in the future. So on behalf of myself, Joe Sebergandio, my main man, Evil Ed, all of our sponsors. It's Joe's Minibike Reunion pre-event podcast wrapping up. I'd like to thank our friends over at Pioneer Car Electronics for all the support, and Emmanuel and D1 for all the great work behind the scenes. It's going to be a good one, Joe. The biggest ever Joe's Minibike Reunion, 8th annual, October 19th, CB Park, La Crescenta. I'll see you there.
See you all Saturday.
Joe's Minibike Show.